Mr. Bart De Wever, Mayor of Antwerp.
Dear Mr. Rutten, dear guests and art lovers, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the fifth speaker and the last man standing between you and the visit of the museum. And I can imagine that a lot of you are eager to go there and not so eager to listen to one more speech. So I would have liked to say that I will be brief, but as I am a politician, I cannot make false promises. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes miracles happen, and when they do, I prefer that they happen in Antwerp. And that is exactly what's happening today. Because just under a year ago, Harry Rutten asked me whether he could organize a press conference in our historical city hall. And he announced me, with self-confidence like only Dutch people can have, that he would like to open a new museum in Antwerp. And he gave himself and his team 1 year. Harry Rutten wanted, in this time frame, to put his own museum on the map, investing his own hard-earned money and contributing his own impressive art collection. That does not happen every day. Usually one of the three elements has to be donated by the city, whether it's the money or the art or the building. Harry Rutten took care of all these elements himself. And he wanted to do it in Antwerp. He could have done it anywhere, but he did it in a city that he learned to embrace and love. A city where he hoped to contribute something one day, and one day became today. Ladies and gentlemen, during his successful career in the world of oil and sales, Harry Rutten, who is not afraid of taking risks, has made some impressive headway. But there is more to life than a career and wealth. This is what makes Harry Rutten such an exceptional entrepreneur. Because we need more than just money in life, we must also feed our minds and spirits with emotion, astonishment, and impressions. In the oil-rich country of Norway, Harry Rutten was first moved to the core by the power, the scream, and the desire of Edvard Munch. I think you have to pronounce it Munch, although there is some discussion on that. The rector of the university, which I dare not contradict, told me that it is Munch anyway. But my speechwriter said if you say Munch, they will know that you know nothing about art. So please say Munch. So I will call him Munch throughout the rest of the speech. Is it Munch or Munch, Harry? Is it Munch or Munch?
Here is the man that will tell us. You can choose.
It's a very diplomatic gentleman there, saying that you can choose freely between the two explanations. But, ladies and gentlemen, even if you are successful in the oil business, you will still not be able to afford an oil of Edvard Munch on canvas, because that has become rather expensive. As his fascination for Munch or Munch grew, Harry Rutten decided to concentrate on lesser known but equally fascinating aspects of Munch's talent. The engraving, the woodcut, the lithograph, the drawing, the sketch, the preliminary study. As he became more knowledgeable, Harry Rutten developed a network of collectors, museums, antique dealers and auctioneers who knew where Edvard Munch's graphic work leads a hidden life. And that is why Harry Rutten can now proudly exhibit his collection of over 30 works by Edvard Munch here today. Dear guests, the art collectors among you know how strong the desire to collect can be. The wives of art collectors are even more keenly aware of this, especially when they happen to stumble upon a forgotten bank statement in their husband's jacket before taking it to the dry cleaners. I myself have a very modest fascination for collecting ancient Roman coins of a certain period. And from time to time I buy one, and then sometimes I know the embarrassing moment when my wife asks me, looking at the bank statements, why is there a tidy sum disappeared to some mysterious auction site? And then I say, well, I bought a coin. And she asks me, why do you spend hundreds of euros on a certain object that is of no practical use it's very hard to explain, but collectors understand it. True art collectors will not rest. Instead of building a castle like other people's, they build a collection. They discover new names, uncover forgotten episodes and periods. They establish connections and recognize kinship. And that is definitely the case here for the triumvirate of Munch, Rops and Goya, whose works are gathered and exhibited in Museum De Reede. In terms of form and technique, content and their underlying meaning, in the works of Munch, Rops and Goya, strong images of eros and thanatos, lust and love, suffering and death, are embroiled in an existential struggle. And, what's more, from now on, we will no longer have to travel to Oslo, Madrid or Namur, as we can now see their works and learn more about these three masters right here in the center of Antwerp. Ladies and gentlemen, when people ask me to address an audience as mayor of this city, the topic is often economy and the port, as Antwerp is a crucial driver in the Flemish economy. Yet I find it equally important to be ambassador of Antwerp as the cultural capital of our region. In the past months, I had the opportunity to open the Elizabeth Center, the prestigious home base of the Antwerp Symphony Orchestra, and I can all recommend you very strongly. The acoustic quality of 9.3 is astounding to go to a concert there. I was also afforded a glimpse behind the scenes of the Royal Museum of Fine Arts in the Zuid Quarter, which will open its doors finally to the public again in 2019. It has taken a very long time to restore it, but I can already reveal after visiting the site that it will be a source of envy for other cities and museums around the world, both in terms of architecture and as a museum. Last year, I also had the pleasure to open the refurbished and modernized Museum Plantin-Moretus, which proudly stands as the very first museum in the world to be included in the list of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. And I have to say that I really enjoyed the disruptive poetry of Richard Deacon's sculptures at the Middelheim Open Air Museum just a few weeks ago. Antwerp and the region around it are definitely worth visiting if you want to experience the fine arts. Classical art, modern art and contemporary art. From Rubens to Fabre, from scientific institutions to adventurous pop-up galleries, Antwerp caters to fine art lovers. And in between the established large museums, you can enjoy smaller but equally impactful initiatives like the Rokokshuis or the Van Mieghem Museum right next door to Museum De Reede. That's not a coincidence, Aaron. It's you who are responsible for that nice combination. And I thank you for that. Since Antwerp's golden age, a richly varied patchwork of art institutions has developed in the city, with crowd pullers like the Mass and the Red Star Line, and boutique museums like Meyer van den Berg or Plantin-Moretus. But we should not underestimate the input of Antwerp's entrepreneurs in this cultural climate, neither during our golden age, which was the 16th century, nor today. Ferdinand Hutz has already been mentioned, the CEO of Katoennazi, but many more, much more of his fellow entrepreneurs than most people suspect, have pledged their heart, their soul, and even more importantly, their wallets, to their passion for art. I think it is entirely wrong to qualify entrepreneurs as money grubbers without knowing anything about them. Real entrepreneurs give back to the community, and they even give back a lot. The government and entrepreneurs can perfectly operate alongside each other in the cultural field. Harry Rutten follows this long-standing tradition, which combines good taste, patronage, passion, and added value for the community. Museum De Reede relies on several volunteers who are responsible for welcoming visitors and touring the museum with them. The museum will also exhibit the works of other graphic artists. It aims to be a platform for debate and encounters, which hosts museum talks and where people can exchange ideas. It is impossible to calculate and quantify the added value of Museum De Reede, because this added value is concealed below the surface of its material aspect. Museum De Reede generates the type of added value that inspires and facilitates the quest for cultural knowledge the art of looking and permanent beauty. In addition to praising and appreciating the boundless passion of Harry Rutten, I would like to sincerely congratulate Mrs. Rutten and everyone else who helped him to develop this project, and I thank them sincerely for their efforts. Congratulations. Thank you very much.